Heisman winner O.J. Simpson's first day in a Nevada courtroom provided a surreal atmosphere. I just have one question. Am I really expected to believe that O.J. Simpson could be capable of armed robbery? Pakistan's leader General Pervez Musharraf has declared martial law, prompting widespread rioting, arrests, and 15-minute waits to get tech support on the phone. Presidential candidate Barack Obama showed off some of his dance moves during his appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and now pundits say he has all but locked up the all-important black guys who cannot dance vote. This spring, Pope Benedict plans to travel to the United States. The sad news, it's all a setup by To Catch a Predator. A British evolutionary theorist said this week that in 100,000 years, humans will be split into two separate species. A group of superhumans who will be between 6 and 7 feet tall, live up to 120 years, and a group of white guys who pay to watch them dunk a basketball. During a campaign bus swing through South Carolina, Senator John McCain confessed he's got the Swedish group ABBA on his iPod. Reporters were shocked. Where did McCain get the money for an iPod? Officials say a boy with matches started the California wildfires that consumed 38,000 acres, caused $1 billion in damage. Apparently, the child was smoking in bed after sex with his teacher. A survey reveals that 67% of people polled said they hate Paris Hilton. The other 23% were having sex with her. Well, this week, televangelist Pat Robertson officially endorsed Republican candidate Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani responded by saying, "You're not helping." O.J. Simpson was in court today to face armed robbery charges. O.J. says he has the perfect alibi. At the time of the burglary, he said he was stabbing some guy's wife and a waiter that she knew. This Monday, Americans observed Veterans Day. President Bush commemorated the event by laying a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Exit Strategy. In Alabama, an 11-year-old girl got drunk, then drove her car into a ditch while going 100 miles an hour. Miraculously, neither the girl nor any of her children were hurt. According to a new survey by Zogby, more than 20% of Americans say they would change their names. The number one person who wants to change his name, of course, Fred Zogby. Renowned Manhattan real estate agent Harriet McGibbon was discovered dead in her Fifth Avenue apartment this morning. Her publicist issued this statement, quote, "Luxury 4-bedroom condo with 24-hour doorman available," unquote. And Mickey Rourke was arrested this week for driving drunk on a scooter. Boy, I hope that doesn't hurt his career. According to Kevin Federline's lawyer, his ex-wife Britney Spears has missed 8 drug tests. So tonight, Britney promises to test 8 new drugs. Well, week 2 of the Hollywood writers' strike is presenting big challenges to the networks. Now the TV show Caveman has to be not funny without writers. In light of the Hollywood writers' strike, networks are rushing to develop new reality shows, including one where O.J. Simpson is set free, then tracked down by Dog the Bounty Hunter. According to government sources, over 50,000 people will travel this Thanksgiving, and that's just Mexicans sneaking across the border. Traveling this Thanksgiving, officials say you can expect to add on 4 hours to your flight. But really, isn't that a small price to pay to spend the day with people you hate? In Paris this week, labor talks broke down and all transportation workers went on strike, causing millions of Parisians to walk home. And just when you thought the French couldn't get any smellier. An earthquake in Chile this week that measured 7.7 on the Richter scale caused millions in damage, hundreds injured, and a cool new coffee flavor from Starbucks. New York's Governor Eliot Spitzer says he does not support issuing driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. Great. As if it isn't hard enough to get a cab in this city. In showbiz news, plans for an MSNBC talk show starring Rosie O'Donnell have hit a snag. Apparently, the Miami Dolphins won't let her out of her contract. This week, Boy George was arrested and charged with chaining a male prostitute to the wall of his house. Everyone was shocked. Boy George has a house? You can learn more about Boy George on the VH1 program Who Gives a Crap Where They Are Now. And finally, in the strangest story of the week, an Indian man actually married a dog. The 3-layer wedding cake consisted of ice cream, frosting, and another dog's ass. On Thursday, O.J. Simpson appeared in a Las Vegas courtroom where he pled not guilty to armed robbery, although he did admit to killing his wife, Robert Blake's wife, and that lady in Phil Spector's house. There was a spirited debate in Iowa this week between the Democratic candidates. The event, however, was plagued by one serious technical problem with Dennis Kucinich's microphone. It was working. Osama bin Laden has released a 4th tape, this one to recruit young Muslims to fight and die for Islam. And it seems he's pretty serious this time. He's tossing in a pair of tickets to Hannah, Montana. The results of a troubling new study published in USA Today found that reading scores for 4th graders are way, way down. Luckily for the 4th graders, they can't read the article. It was reported today that Victoria's Secret lingerie are actually made in sweatshops in Bangladesh. Think about that for a moment. Children toil in substandard conditions and receive just 30 cents a day so that your wife can look like a whore. Some sad news, the inventor of Gatorade has died. At his funeral, in an uncomfortable moment, pallbearers dumped a bucket of ashes on his wife. Eight men have come forward to say that they had anonymous gay sex with Senator Larry Craig. Senator Craig will respond to the allegations just as soon as he can walk. Mitt Romney gave a stirring speech this week about how his Mormon faith will not interfere with his ability to be president. The speech was greeted with wild applause by his 10,000 wives. Armed Islamic radicals are rioting in the streets of Sudan today after a British teacher named a teddy bear Muhammad. In an effort to appease the radical Muslims, the teacher has agreed to name a rag doll Jews Suck. In showbiz news, Roy of Siegfried and Roy is planning to perform magic again. Or, as the Tiger calls it, seconds. Amy Winehouse was spotted this week wandering around the freezing streets of London, drugged out, wearing only a bra, and muttering incoherently. Clearly, this is just a desperate cry for help. And when I say help, I mean crystal meth. Hulk Hogan's wife has filed for divorce. She says the two are parting on amicable terms. It's just that she wants to start seeing other primates. On Monday, Don Imus returned to the air along with his new black female sidekick. I'm not sure Mr. Imus picked the perfect candidate. She has really weird hair, and she's a prostitute. This week, the United States sponsored a Middle East peace conference in Minneapolis, which boasted representatives from Syria, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, and Yemen. They even strung a banner that read, "Welcome Jew haters." As part of a program to honor Nobel laureates, President George Bush invited former Vice President Al Gore to the Oval Office. There was one embarrassing moment when, out of habit, Gore knocked on the door and said, "Do you have your pants on, Mr. President?" Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy has received a whopping $8 million advance for writing the story of his life. Asked whether the book will deal with Chappaquiddick, Kennedy remained coy, replying only, quote, "We'll crash off that bridge when we come to it." Once again, fast-moving wildfires have broken out in Malibu and are on their way to Los Angeles. The only good news? The fire is stuck in traffic. Olympic officials have announced that 10,000 free condoms will be supplied to the athletes during the 2008 Games, which raises a troubling question. What event is this for? According to the latest FBI statistics, Detroit, Michigan has jumped to America's #1 most dangerous city. This after raping and strangling Newark, New Jersey. The big news from the campaign trail this week, Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey have campaigned in Iowa and drew a crowd of 30,000 Iowans who came to see exactly what black people looked like. Presidential candidate Ron Paul is using a blimp to boost his campaign. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Barack Obama. As we move into week 5 of the Hollywood writers' strike, news writers are also threatening to go on strike. Details at 11. Maybe. In a Virginia courtroom, Michael Vick was sentenced to 23 months in prison for arranging dogfighting. On the bright side, in prison, Michael Vick can take up a related interest, cockfighting. Brad Pitt appeared at a press conference this week in New Orleans to announce that he had personally designed 150 homes for Katrina-displaced residents. Each house will come with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and an African baby. A man is suing the owner of a Burger King restaurant after he bit into a Burger King sandwich and found a condom inside. Even worse, a guy was still wearing it. Mike Huckabee has come out on record against abortion, against medical marijuana, and against gay marriage. Well, there goes the California vote. Madison Square Garden and New York Knicks coach Isaiah Thomas have reached an $11 million settlement over the sexual harassment case brought by a former female executive. So, to put this in layman's terms, Isaiah Thomas paid $11 million not to have sex with an ugly chick. A lesbian couple that married in Massachusetts has filed for divorce. The couple is citing irreconcilable similarities. This week, for the first time, actress Jodie Foster publicly admitted that she is a lesbian. Yet another setback for John Hinckley. Some sad news. Music legend Ike Turner has died at the age of 76. In lieu of flowers, his family is asking you to stub a lit cigarette out on Tina Turner's thigh. Hannah Montana has just come out with her own perfume. Here's how it works. You spray it in R. Kelly's face and run like hell. Well, Britney Spears' troubled life took another ugly turn this week when the intoxicated pop star was whisked away in an ambulance drunk and stumbling after losing permanent custody of her young sons. So you know what that means. Whoever had January 4th in the office pool is a big winner. San Francisco zoo officials still cannot explain what prompted a tiger to jump a 12-foot fence, maul 2 zoo visitors, and kill a third. How about this for an explanation? It's a tiger! A man who lived even after he fell 47 stories from a skyscraper and landed on a New York City street is out of a coma and starting to talk. His first words? Hey, where's my wallet? Hollywood, Florida is getting the first gay retirement home. And this is interesting. Their gay pride parade took 3 days. A new music video features actress Penelope Cruz in a steamy lesbian kiss with her sister. If your erection lasts longer than 72 hours, please contact your doctor. Hillary Clinton scored a surprise come-from-behind victory over Barack Obama in the New Hampshire primary, and now everybody in New Hampshire has to give Oprah back that free car. Britney Spears was rushed to a psych ward after ODing on a potent cocktail of Vicodin, Valium, Celexa, and Red Bull. Apparently, she was so disoriented that she was wearing underwear. China's latest outbreak in poultry of the H5N1 strain of bird flu in the far western region of Xinjiang has been brought under control. This according to a state media spokesman, who just vomited up some black stuff and died. Pamela Anderson and Rick Solomon have ended their marriage after just 2 months. A representative for the couple said Pamela and Rick are separating on good terms. It's just that they ran out of videotape. Senator John McCain said it would be fine with him if the United States military stayed in Iraq for, quote, 1,000,000 years. But President Bush disagrees with an early pullout. A new study concluded that the don't ask, don't tell policy regarding gays in the military is not being enforced. Forget Iraq, we can't even get our soldiers to pull out of each other. In what polls say is the reason she won in New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton showed a not often seen human side when she cried in response to a voter's question. The question? Hey Hillary, why are you peeling onions? Britney Spears' Mercedes-Benz sports car swerved on Sunset Boulevard and almost crashed when one of the tires burst. Also suffering a disastrous rubber failure, her sister. Dolly the Sheep creator Dr. Ian Wilmot was presented with Great Britain's highest award in the sciences for his work in genetic cloning. The award was presented to him by Dr. Ian Wilmot, Dr. Ian Wilmot, and Dr. Ian Wilmot. In Tyler, Texas, a man killed, then cut up, cooked, and ate his girlfriend. And being in Texas, he made sure to slather her in a kick-ass hickory barbecue sauce. In Mumbai, India, the world's cheapest car, the Tata, costing just $2,500, was unveiled. Then it was stepped on by an elephant. A female gym teacher in Coropolis, Pennsylvania, has admitted to having sex with a 14-year-old boy. People in this small town are stunned. There's such a thing as a straight female gym teacher? In political news, the Michigan primary was marred by one ugly incident. Apparently, Senator Larry Craig was caught having gay sex in a voting booth. New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson has dropped out of the presidential race. The news comes as a terrible shock to his supporter. While visiting a Holocaust memorial in Jerusalem, President Bush said this week that he wishes he could have bombed Auschwitz. Auschwitz has oil? After violating the terms of his bail, O.J. Simpson has wound up in a Las Vegas jail. Wow, I hope this doesn't hurt his reputation as a double murderer. Olympic sprinter Marion Jones, the fastest woman in the world, has been found guilty of lying about steroids and will serve 6 months in prison. If they ever catch her. Britney Spears' relatives claim Dr. Phil went public on their hospital visit to exploit her breakdown to promote his show. Although Dr. Phil vigorously has denied this on ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, Fox News, and the Oxygen Network. Hillary Clinton is accusing the Obama campaign of injecting race into the presidential elections. And Barack Obama responded by saying, quote, "Make me a sandwich, bitch." And now racial tensions are beginning to spill over into the Republican Party, where two sides are clashing. Whites versus very, very, very whites. Meteorologists have recorded the first snowfall in Baghdad in 100 years, thus guaranteeing peace in the Middle East now that hell is frozen over. 200-pounder Queen Latifah has joined up to become the latest celebrity spokesman for Jenny Craig. She will play Before. Things seem to be going from bad to worse for Britney Spears. This week, at a custody hearing in Los Angeles, the judge awarded her children to Michael Jackson. This week, Simple Life star Nicole Richie gave birth to a happy baby girl. Congratulations, you have an 8-pound, 9-ounce mommy. This week, Barack Obama revealed his economic plan to repair America's sputtering economy. He is going to put the $7 trillion deficit on Oprah's gold card. President Bush has made a deal to sell Saudi Arabia $20 billion worth of high-tech weaponry in exchange for this shiny thing. The latest Los Angeles statistics say crime involving gambling, adultery, drunk driving, drugs, murder, and prostitution are way down. So, this writer's strike really is hurting the Hollywood economy. Dozens of residents in a small Texas town reportedly spotted a UFO. The aliens had no teeth and webbed feet. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the residents. A Canadian woman who suffered an overdose sued her meth dealer for $50,000 and won. Gee, I wonder what she's going to spend the money on. Pornography star Jenna Jameson says she is retiring. She says she wants to spend more time having gangbangs with her family. Well, according to the polls, John McCain has the most support in Florida. The bad news? They could all be dead next week. Next week, Fred Thompson will be in Florida. Oh, he's not stumping for voters. That's just where old people retire. Opening nationwide this week, the horror movie Cloverfield, which is about aliens who launch a surprise attack on New York City. Rudy Giuliani said, "See, it could happen again." Some sad news, Richard Canner, the inventor of the Frisbee, has died. His body will lie for public viewing on the neighbor's rooftop. Oprah Winfrey has her own talk show, magazine, and a book club, and on Monday, she got her own cable network. What's next? Poland? Next month, look for the Webby Awards, the only award show honoring videos on YouTube. This year, there's a tight race for Best Supporting Guy Getting Slammed in the Nuts by His Kid's Wiffle Bat. In Davis County, Utah, a 14-year-old boy has been charged with bestiality and lewdness for allegedly raping a dog. Police arrived at the scene and sprayed him with a garden hose. In his new book, Tom Cruise, an unofficial biography, British author Andrew Morton claims that Suri, the daughter of Cruise and his wife Katie Holmes, was actually the result of an injection of cryogenically preserved sperm of L. Ron Hubbard. Although Katie Holmes claims the birth was the result of a more bizarre method: heterosexual sex with Tom Cruise. Our top story this week, President Bush unveiled his much-anticipated economic stimulus package. Take the Giants and the points. This week, Fred Thompson held a press conference to announce that he is dropping out of the race for president. Then he put his head down on the podium and took a long nap. Republican candidates are campaigning hard to win the all-important state of Florida. In fact, Rudy Giuliani wants to win in Florida so bad he has changed his name to Bingo. With all the attention focused on Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, John Edwards complained that the press is ignoring him. Then the janitor said, yeah, just turn off the lights and lock up when you're done. Ralph Nader is considering running for president, and Dennis Kucinich is worried they could split the who gives a crap vote. Chuck Norris said this week that John McCain is too old to be president, and McCain shot back, Could you please repeat that in my good ear? A study has found that President George Bush ran roughshod over the truth in the run-up to the Iraq War, lying a total of 935 times. I think I speak for all Americans when I say, that's all? On Monday, President Bush gave his final State of the Union address, where he expressed optimism about the plummeting stock market, record unemployment, home mortgage foreclosures, spiraling gas prices, and the war in Iraq. And he did it all without comedy writers. The big news from the campaign trail, Rudy Giuliani says he is considering quitting the race. He will leave it for a hotter, younger race. Mike Huckabee says that he's just a regular guy, and I for one believe him. In a couple of weeks, he'll need a job. A transgender city councilor in Georgia is being sued by a rival for misleading voters by running as a woman. Don't you hate those politicians who try to be all things to all people? Los Angeles is testing a vending machine that dispenses marijuana. In an odd footnote, observers later spotted the pot machine putting money in the candy machine. A 29-year-old Berlin man was spotted shaving a Nazi symbol onto his dog's fur. Also spotted a French poodle surrendering. The United States has set a new world record for the most STDs with 1 million cases of chlamydia a year. In your face, Thailand! Researchers say they've located the gene for bisexuality. It was located between a Hooters and a Pottery Barn. President Bush says people are not hearing the good news about the economy. Sure, that's because they can't pay their electricity bill. On a recently released tape, Katie Couric was spotted repeatedly uttering a string of expletives. Luckily, it was aired during the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric, so no one saw it. In business news, board members are planning to fire eBay CEO Meg Whitman. She found out the bad news when she saw her desk on eBay. Researchers have figured out a way for American monkeys to use mind control to operate robots in Japan. Imagine a time when half a world away, robots will hurl feces at scientists. The rumor mill is in overdrive after paparazzi spotted Britney Spears using a breathalyzer. However, Britney's spokesman insists it was just a crack pipe. A new highly drug-resistant strain of flesh-eating virus is now attacking gay men. Okay, who screwed the monkey this time? Our top story, the New England Patriots are having a big sale on bottles of champagne. Pop sensation Britney Spears was rushed to hospital by ambulance last week. We do not know what condition she's in, but I'm guessing we can rule out stable. Hillary Clinton received the endorsement of Janet Reno, and with it, a dozen roses. A startling investigative report in Star magazine claims that just before his untimely death, movie star Heath Ledger was caught carrying 5 ounces. Mary-Kate Olsen. This week, Virgin Galactic unveiled the first commercial rocket ship that will send passengers into space. It costs $20 million a ticket and another $5 for a headset. In Bedford, Connecticut, local police raided and arrested several Johns and hookers in an illegal S&M prostitution ring. The arrest went smoothly, as everybody was already wearing handcuffs. After a week of startling primary losses, Hillary Clinton has fired her campaign manager, Patty Doyle. Well, actually, her exact words were, "Get off my husband, bitch." Mitt Romney has dropped out of the race for president, And now the only one standing in the way of McCain in the White House? This guy. Today, President Bush announced a new plan to help Americans who are in desperate need of food, housing, electricity, education, and medical care. The plan? Move to Iraq. Los Angeles was the site of the 50th annual Grammy Award show, where Amy Winehouse nabbed 5 trophies, including the Grammy for Best New Skank. 89-year-old Mike Wallace is recovering from triple heart bypass surgery. Doctors say it was touch and go. Mr. Wallace lost 2 pints of dust. Maryland police say a 15-year-old Boy Scout has been charged with killing his parents and 2 younger brothers. Amazingly, he received a merit badge in killing your parents and 2 younger brothers. Scientists have learned that there is a link between diabetes and big breasts. Although scientists say there is one upside, they got to touch big breasts. Pundits say that Bill Clinton's involvement in Hillary's campaign may have hurt her. What a shame. Just when their marriage was going so well. Barack Obama's success is clearly impacting Hillary Clinton's campaign. She has just announced her vice presidential nominee. It's Flava Flav. This week, George Bush endorsed John McCain for president, to which McCain replied, "What did I ever do to you?" In sports news, testifying on Capitol Hill, Roger Clemens denied that he used steroids. He stood before Congress and raised his right hoof. Officials in Islamabad are readying Pakistan for the presidential elections on February the 18th. So far, it's a close race between the guy who's going to get shot and the guy who's going to get blown up. A man listed as Massachusetts' most dangerous sex offender has won $10 million in the state lottery. Afterwards, he said, "I'm going to Disneyland." Barack Obama is preparing to debate Hillary Clinton. Apparently, he called up Jane Fonda and said, "Do you mind if I use that word?" It is being reported that in several states, women are fainting at Barack Obama rallies. A woman also passed out at a John McCain rally, and McCain gave her a hit off his oxygen mask. The close race for who will be the Democratic presidential nominee between Hillary and Barack could be decided by 797 superdelegates. In a related story, Oprah just bought 797 new cars. The president has ordered the Navy to shoot down a spy satellite in space that is out of control and packed with toxic chemicals. And if it works, they're going to try the same thing with Amy Winehouse. The military is reporting that the number of deadly attacks on civilians in Baghdad are down 80%. Well, that's great news for the 14 civilians who are still alive. This week, a powerful 6.2 magnitude earthquake shook the Middle East. It resulted in over 10,000 new rocks for hurling at the Jews. Danish police foiled a plot to kill a Danish cartoonist for a cartoon he drew of the Muslim prophet Muhammad. Police became suspicious when they spotted an Acme bomb strapped to a coyote on roller skates. Roger Clemens is on Capitol Hill battling charges that he used steroids. And if found guilty, Clemens could face prison time. So, one of the greatest pitchers of all time could wind up as one of the greatest catchers of all time. At a rally in Ohio, a red-faced Bill Clinton lashed out and screamed at a Barack Obama supporter. Chelsea Clinton started crying and ran away. President Bush's economic stimulus bill designed to help the middle class has hit a snag. There is no longer a middle class. Fidel Castro has officially resigned. The job of Cuba's president will now be assumed by his brother, Jeb Castro. This just in, Fidel Castro just washed up on an inner tube in Miami. More on this story as it develops. President Bush has ordered the Navy to fire a rocket and blow up an out-of-control spy satellite. Bush went on to say, "If we don't, the Martians have won." The FDA has ordered a recall of 143 tons of tainted beef. This is trouble for McDonald's new sandwich, the McTainted Beef. Mexico's President Felipe Calderon is planning to visit the United States, but there is a snag. His suit has gotten caught on the fence. A new CBS News New York Times poll finds Barack Obama with a 16-point lead. You know what that means. Time for Hillary to start whipping up the fake tears. The New York Times is reporting that John McCain carried on an inappropriate relationship with a much younger lobbyist. The good news? No sex tape. Christian conservative candidate Mike Huckabee announced his plan to wipe out the $1 trillion deficit. He's going to pass the collection plate from the West Coast and back. Reporters suspect that John Edwards is leaning towards supporting Barack Obama. He was interviewed at a salon getting cornrows. Aides for Mitt Romney say he may re-enter the race for president, or he may just fly his Learjet over a forest fire and toss $40 million out the window. This week, Chris Dodd endorsed Barack Obama, and the cashier said, yeah, paper or plastic. The Supreme Court plans to hear arguments this year in the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill case, and after that, they're going to look into this whole Lusitania business. A man in Tampa, Florida spotted what hundreds now claim is the image of Jesus in a slab of granite, although many believers are dubious, as it is not in a grilled cheese sandwich. Heather Mills has settled with Paul McCartney for $104 million and says she wants to use the money to move to Los Angeles. Paul McCartney is thrilled because that's where a celebrity can kill his wife and get away with it. Hoping to reassure voters, John McCain says he has been, quote, tested, retested, and tested again. And they're positive he's still alive. Russians voted in a new president, Dmitry Medvedev, who President Bush says is, quote, just a puppet controlled by Vladimir Putin, unquote. Then Dick Cheney gave him a liver snap and said, good boy. Two South American nations are on the brink of war as Venezuela and Ecuador amass troops at the Colombian border. And Barack Obama expressed deep concern as this may raise the price of cocaine. The Dallas Morning News has endorsed Mike Huckabee for the Republican nomination. They also picked New England for the Super Bowl, Norbit to win the Oscars, and the Dow to break 20,000. Ralph Nader has selected Matt Gonzalez as his running mate. So, I guess it is true. Mexicans are willing to do the jobs Americans refuse to do. New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg has come out on record saying he will not run for president. Well, I guess it's true what they say. America is not ready for an old, rich white guy. Condoleezza Rice returned from the Middle East on a peace mission, which was a huge success. She's alive. This week, the Middle East exploded in violence as Israel and the Palestinian Liberation Organization exchanged a volley of rocket strikes that caused multiple casualties. Wow, who could have seen that coming? Our top story, well, the results of the big Texas and Ohio primaries are in, and Barack took a pretty bad beating. And that was just by Oprah. In a special ceremony at the White House, President Bush did his best to help John McCain become president when he endorsed Hillary Clinton for president. After Hillary Clinton's big wins in Texas and Ohio, experts say America is ready for a woman president. Re-entering the race, Rudy Giuliani. John McCain said that he is the right person to answer the phone at 3 a.m. in the White House, just as long as that phone is in the bathroom. In international news, Dmitry Medvedev has won the Russian presidential election with 70% of the vote. Oh, this just in, 30% of Russians are missing. Kirstie Alley is starting her own program guaranteed to make you look thin. Here's how it works. You stand next to Kirstie Alley. A judge this week granted Britney Spears part-time custody of her 2 children. Britney says she is thrilled and cannot wait to be reunited with What's-His-Face and the other one. Some sad news. Gary Gygax, who created the fantasy game Dungeons & Dragons, has died at 69 years of age. His coffin will be on display in his parents' basement. On March 8th, women all over the world will celebrate International Women's Day, followed on March 9th by Shut Up and Get Me a Beer Day. New York Governor Eliot Spitzer has admitted that he was a frequent customer of a $5,000 an hour call girl. Wait till he finds out it was Larry Craig in drag. The high-priced call girl ring was made known to the authorities by one disgruntled hooker the day after she won an Oscar. A Barack Obama staffer was fired after she was quoted calling Hillary Clinton a monster. Doesn't she know it's illegal to use a candidate's Secret Service code name? President Bush is dispatching Vice President Dick Cheney to the Middle East. While he is gone, President Bush will run the country. Ron Paul officially dropped out of the presidential race this week. I think I speak for most Americans when I say, why so soon? A new government study has found that the war in Iraq will cost $12 billion a month. President Bush had this to say to the American people: cash that refund check fast. Britain's army is investigating who leaked information to the press that Prince Harry was fighting on the front lines. The number one suspect? Prince Harry. According to a new study, men who do housework get more sex. Yeah, with other men. This week, Governor Eliot Spitzer announced his resignation, saying he wants to spend more time with his hookers. Today, a desperate Hillary Clinton was spotted asking that hooker caught with Eliot Spitzer, how much to do Barack? This week in Great Britain marked the Million Woman Rise, where 1 million women gather against oppressed and imprisoned women in Afghanistan, Africa, and Tom Cruise's house. John McCain is searching for a running mate whose presence will reassure Americans who are concerned about his age. So, he's going with a paramedic. In other political news, Barack Obama raised $55 million this week, Hillary Clinton $31 million, and Ralph Nader found some bacon in his teeth. The U.S. Air Force is reporting that all original stealth bombers are being taken out of commission. Or so they say. With back-to-back wins in Wyoming and Mississippi, Hillary Clinton's attack ads are becoming more pointed. Her last one ends, "Is America ready for a coke-snorting Muslim?" The Democratic National Committee has a plan to redo the primary voting in Florida. When he heard about the Florida recount, George Bush said, "Does that mean Al Gore is president?" This week, New York Lieutenant Governor David Paterson was sworn in as to build the stupid thing. A new study has concluded that as they reach middle age, men are more likely than women to recall things that didn't actually happen. Well, at least according to my wife, Jessica Alba. Dr. Jack Kevorkian says he is going to run for Congress in Michigan. His opponent has crafted a clever attack ad. He kills people! After having sex with Eliot Spitzer, prostitute Ashley Dupre has been offered a 6-figure recording contract. In a related story, MC Hammer is spreading the rumor that he had sex with Eliot Spitzer. This week marks the 5th anniversary of the war in Iraq. The president wants all troops that have not been killed, captured, or wounded to march in a victory parade. Barack Obama's longtime pastor Jeremiah Wright said that the government-invented AIDS was behind 9/11 and caused Hurricane Katrina. $111 a barrel, although it is expected to rise to $112 a barrel by the end of this sentence. As China continues crying, so that China can get back to doing what they do best, painting lead on Barbie dolls. Commenting on the Tibetan uprising, President Bush and several other provinces that he can't pronounce. The IRS says the tax rebate checks should be in the mail by May. They're including a free stamp so you can send it back to the IRS. In a shocking revelation, New York's new blind governor, David Paterson, admitted that he had affairs with other women. At least he thinks they were women. Our top story, former Fed Chief Alan Greenspan says that the United States is in the worst financial crisis since World War II. So, President Bush snapped into action and started World War III. We are now learning that New York's blind governor, David Paterson, carried on an affair with an aide. More troubling, when he was having sex, he was thinking of a younger, hotter Blur. Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick was charged with perjury after he carried on an affair with a top aide. Well, there's luck for you. The one guy in Detroit with a job, and he's going to lose it. Ironically, the only stable relationship in politics now is between Larry Craig and that undercover cop. Vice President Dick Cheney was in Saudi Arabia, where he met with King Abdul to discuss lowering oil prices. After several hours of intense discussions, they arrived at a unanimous decision. Nah. In London this week, John McCain met with British Prime Minister Gordon Brown, where he personally apologized for taking part in the Boston Tea Party. Osama bin Laden has issued a new audio tape. In this one, he just wants Jeremiah Wright to chill. This week, Pascal Collet became the only man to successfully undergo a full face transplant. He is also the first man to never get a single hit on Facebook. This week, Nancy Reagan endorsed John McCain. McCain said he was thrilled because he needs the support of younger voters. Hillary Clinton admitted that she misspoke when she said she landed under sniper fire during a 1996 trip to Bosnia. To convince reporters she was telling the truth, she started crying fake tears. New York's blind Governor David Paterson admits he had multiple affairs and smoked pot and snorted cocaine. Why don't they save time and make the next governor Bobby Brown? There's a plan to get Al Gore to run for president at the Democratic National Convention. What they're going to do is tie a hot dog to a string and drag it to a podium. France's President Nicolas Sarkozy christened the country's latest submarine this week. One embarrassing moment, when he smashed the sub with a champagne bottle, the crew surrendered. It is the 10th anniversary of Viagra. It is also the 10th anniversary of Elizabeth Dole running from the house screaming, "Somebody help me!" The Marines thought a Predator drone over the hills of Tora Bora spotted Osama bin Laden hiding in a cave. It turns out it was Barack's pastor Jeremiah Wright. Scientists say they have found the best evidence yet that there is an ocean on Saturn's moon Titan. Apparently, some Cubans washed ashore. A chunk of Arctic ice 7 times the size of Manhattan suddenly collapsed this week. Experts say this trend could lead to an unthinkable catastrophe. An Inconvenient Truth Part 2. Republican frontrunner John McCain announced his plans to stimulate the economy. Everyone gets a crisp new dollar bill in his birthday card. For the first time ever, there are more Muslims than there are Catholics. In a related story, Barack Obama said, "Oh yeah, that was a turban." Rudy Giuliani is considering running for governor of New York. His slogan? "If anyone can beat a coke-snorting blind black guy who cheated on his wife, it's me." Ralph Nader urged Hillary Clinton not to quit because all candidates have an important voice in this election. He made the speech to a clown at Jack in the Box. In economic news, the price of both beer and gas is rising, especially hard-hit drunk drivers. Over at the Washington Nationals season opener, President Bush threw out the ceremonial first pitch. President Bush told reporters he spent all week practicing. So let's see. The economy's in the gutter. We can't find bin Laden. Gas is $4 a gallon. Play ball! And some sad news. The inventor of the Egg McMuffin has died. Cause of death? McHeart attack. It is being reported that both Oprah Winfrey and Ricki Lake have put back on all the weight that they lost. Your move, star. Today, the Olympic torch runner arrived in China's Tiananmen Square, and the crowd cheered wildly. Well, that is until they realized it was actually a dissident on fire running from a tank. Our top story this week: at a speech in Sterling, Virginia, President Bush had some good news about the future of our country's economy. It's going to be this guy's problem. This week, the PLO and Israelis sent a special delegation to the United States to help hammer out a ceasefire between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. In other political news, the attacks and counterattacks of the opposing campaigns are becoming more vicious. Now they're saying when Hillary was in college back in the 70s, she experimented with the truth. This April in Pennsylvania, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton will debate. And Ralph Nader will be there too. He's working the coat check. Experts believe that North Korea's dictator Kim Jong-il is lying about the size of his missiles. They say the reason is because he's a guy. There is mixed economic news this month. Federal refund checks will be sent to people's homes in May. The bad news? The homes will have been repossessed by April. The economic slowdown is not good news for the restaurant business. Today, Denny's had to lay off the guy who puts the hair on the eggs. The United States has decided to take a tough stance on the Chinese crackdown in Tibet. Beginning this week, American governors will be boycotting all Asian hookers. John McCain says he has about 20 names on his list of potential running mates. He just can't remember where he left it. A new study by U.S. News & World Report has ranked the world's top dangerous jobs. Coming in at number 1, Olympic torch runner. In San Angelo, Texas this week, authorities cleared out a polygamous compound. They removed 220 women, 401 children, and Mitt Romney. Some sad news this week. Actor Charlton Heston has died at the age of 84 after a long battle with damn dirty apes. This week, Prince Philip was rushed to the hospital with chest pains, where his doctors told him that he should relax and avoid strenuous activity. What the hell else has he been doing for the last 86 years? A pregnant man in mid-sex change was on Oprah this week with his transgender wife, and they argued over how the pregnancy occurred. I guess it's one of those classic he-she said things. Texas police rescued 220 women and children from a polygamous compound. The cops were tipped off by a sign outside that read, "Polygamous Compound." Senator John McCain is about to start receiving Secret Service protection on the campaign trail. Insiders say his Secret Service codename will be Flomax. In New York, Hillary Clinton appeared at a fundraiser headlined by Elton John. A sign that the campaign is in trouble, Elton worked her poll numbers into that Candle in the Wind song. There's only 3 days until April the 15th. You know what that means. Wesley Snipes has only 72 hours to find a good hiding spot. A prince in Saudi Arabia wants to build a building that is 1 mile high. When completed, it will officially become the world's largest target. Since oil prices have risen, Iraq has made $100 billion in oil profits. So now it's basically Detroit with money. Al Copeland, the founder of Popeye's Fried Chicken, has died. Cause of death? Come on. A powerful tornado swept across Arkansas this week. There were several injuries, and many homes have been deemed undrivable. This week, the Olympic torch arrived in the Middle East. There's a great combination. 1,000 men with dynamite strapped on and a guy running with a lighter. Pat Buchanan says the chances that we will bomb Iran by fall are 50-50. But President Bush says they are much better, more like 70-70. During a stop at a local diner in Indiana, Hillary Clinton boasted to locals that she likes to go duck hunting. Then she claimed the ducks return fire. This week, Barack Obama made disparaging remarks about bitter working-class voters who, quote, cling to guns or religion and bash immigrants, unquote. Well, there goes the 95% of the people in the country vote. An assistant manager at a Massachusetts McDonald's was fired this week for selling pot at a drive-thru. Luckily, he quickly landed a job at Crack in the Box. Madonna's new CD could be her biggest seller ever. It's called Buy This or I'll Make Another Movie. This week, Pope Benedict left the United States, one day after being voted off of Dancing with the Stars. Experts believe that recently discovered pictures of a bloated old man in a sparkly outfit is Elvis Presley, although they turned out to be Lisa Marie Presley. Hillary Clinton says Barack Obama is elitist and out of touch with poor people. And then she realized, hey, that's my slogan. John McCain is proposing that the government drop the gas tax for the summer. McCain said he wants to make it easier for people to fill up their horseless carriages. This week, Hillary Clinton announced what she will accomplish after her first 100 days as president. And then the bartender said, last call. Elizabeth Taylor was rushed this week to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center after swallowing a lethal combination of alcohol, pills, and Popeye's chicken. The Israelis are reportedly again ready to offer the Palestinians their own state. That state? New Jersey. The trial of Deborah Jean Palfrey, the D.C. madam, ended with the former prostitute being found guilty. She now faces 7 years in prison, although she could serve 2 years for good behavior and only 1 year for great behavior. A public school library in Virginia has pulled a book about 2 gay penguins. No word yet on another children's book about homosexuality. Horton hears a Liza CD. A 102-year-old English grandmother has posed nude for a charity calendar. The money raised will go to help the victims of the calendar. This weekend on Meet the Press, John McCain said he has the energy and focus to be president. Well, that's what we think he said. He was mumbling in his sleep. President Bush honored a contestant who served in Iraq by making a surprise appearance on Deal or No Deal. He was going to pull the same stunt on another game show, but he wasn't smarter than a 5th grader. Pope Benedict continues his globetrotting as part of a campaign to recruit new members. They even have a slogan, the Catholic Church, now with 50% less buggery. In science news, Chinese scientists say they are working on controlling the weather. Can't they just make a takeout container that doesn't leak? In London this week, a 101-year-old man completed the 2008 marathon. It should be noted, however, he started the 2007 marathon. A Vermont man spent $100,000 to decorate his basement as an exact replica of the set from The Wizard of Oz. Hey, there's got to be an easier way to tell your parents you're gay. This Tuesday was Earth Day. Lindsay Lohan marked the occasion by driving a hybrid car into a tree. Amy Winehouse is opening a restaurant in London. In the bathrooms, they have posted signs. Employees must wash Amy Winehouse. CBS has found a clever, if not entirely ethical way of breaking up their 5-year, multi-million-dollar deal with Katie Couric. They're setting her up on a date with OJ. According to TMZ, after 5 domestic disputes where police were called in, O.J. Simpson's girlfriend, Christine Brody, has reportedly broken up with him. But O.J. insists that she's just playing hard to stab. The news just gets worse and worse for...